Hey, my Travel podcast today, I'm lucky to have Doris Mayday, a model, host, producer, a literal jack of all trades. How are you today, Doris?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing excellent. Having a great day. Thank you so much for being my first guest of 2021.
Yay! Hopefully it's a much better year. So if it's not, I think it all falls back on me. So let's hope that we start off with a bang.
I was going to say, at least now I have somebody to blame.
Yeah. Now all the pressure's on me. It's off of you. So you can explain it. Be like, it was all on Mayday. I mean, it's your fault. Your first guest has the name Mayday. So.
Oh, I didn't see. I didn't contemplate that. I'm going to have to change your last name just for this episode.
I know. We'll change it.
We'll need a new derby name.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, it'll be like, Doris, everything's fine. Everything's fine. There you go.
My wife and I, we roller skate a lot. And
oh, great. I just got a new pair of skates. That was my wedding gift for my husband. He got me a sick pair of skates.
What did you get? Do you remember?
They're literally called moon skates.
Moonlight roller. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I love moonlight roller waves. That was I had a birthday party there once. It was the best time. But I think they're called moon skates, and they're beautiful dark green suede, and I'm so excited. But I realized in your 30s, you will break. So I told him that I wanted to do squats for a solid 2 weeks before we took them out, just to make sure that all of those muscles were re-engaged. But I got the skates a month ago, so I have yet to do the 2 week squat.
All I can tell you is wait till you're in your 50s and you fall.
I know. But my husband is he's 41, so there's 10 years between us. But he is he's crazy. He's a long time skater, skateboarder. Yeah. And he's 6'4", maybe 100 pounds soaking wet, and that man does not break. I don't understand. He's fine, and I'm over here cracking every joint and bone in my body. So go figure.
I've had a few, but I broke my tailbone the first time I went to a skate park.
The first time? Was that the last time?
No. But I knew I had hurt my buttocks, and then I went about, I think it was 5 or 6 months later. We were at the doctor's for Wendy, and she said, "Oh, you should get your tailbone checked out." "Oh yeah, it's cracked." It's great.
Oh yeah. Well, he has broken a million bones, but he's resilient. He doesn't have fear after he breaks something. And I'm so lucky his daughter totally caught that gene as well. She's 9, and she last year, bombed a hill and broke her arm, and she was so stoked to have a cast and show her classmates. And as soon as that cast came off, she started skating again, and I was just what?
The thing that tripped me out was braces are cool now.
Yeah.
Braces were never cool when I was a kid.
I know. Oh my gosh. I still rock a retainer every now and then when I feel like my teeth have shifted. And my stepdaughter is just she's whoa, what are those? So excited about.
I know.
What? I
felt bad. My older daughter had to get braces, and I'm like, man, it'll be okay. It won't be that long. And they're like, oh no, that's cool. I get to pick up rubber bands. I get different colors. I'm like, what?
Braces were dorky for me as a kid, but braces were essential for me. So I was really excited because I remember I had braces 2 years, 3 months, 4 days. I remember exactly. Because I had horrendous teeth. I got voted best smile as a joke when I was in junior high because of how bad my teeth were. Oh, really? Aw, kindred spirits.
At Pershing Junior High, I was voted best smile because I never smiled because I didn't like my teeth.
Oh, yeah. I got voted it, and thankfully I was on yearbook, and I just started crying when I was counting in the votes, and my teacher wouldn't allow it. She was like, "No, we're not putting that in there." I was just so I did get best dressed though. So it's always been this weird, people liked me and people made fun of me at the same time, very much still to this day. So,
that's the world we live in.
It is the world we live in. Exactly. It's the precursor to social media.
Well, I have a friend it's been 35 years since I graduated high school. And I just had somebody reach out to me and say, "You always had the best hair in high school." I'm like, "Oh my God, I hated my hair in high school." What are you talking about? Funny. I hated it.
You know, I was such I was the typical like weirdo in my family. Well, like I think any model story, it's like I grew up as an ugly duckling, but I'm like, no, I wasn't an ugly duckling, like for sure. And then, you know, like punk rock saved my life, like, you know, most kids. And then I found my style, and from punk rock and ska and all that, I got into rockabilly, which was really easy for me because I had so much older influence in my life. With my parents were big music junkies. My dad was an old car guy. My aunt used to babysit me, and I'd go next door, and her neighbor was this older man that used to be an original like 1950s DJ, and I'd make mixtapes. So when I discovered rockabilly and all that, and I really got into my style, is actually when I got out of high school. Like I only went to sophomore year, and then I did this college program that I got accepted into. So I didn't see my peers after I was 16. I was like, out, bye. Like, you're mean, and I'm like the weirdo wearing cat eyes and fishnets and Converse, and like, I'm out of here. And then years later with, you know, MySpace, Facebook, all of that, and I started modeling, and they're like, I always had a crush on you, or I wanted to. I'm like, you guys were cheating off my papers. Like, shut up. Like, you were not. Like, you guys, like, no, don't tell me, because I was desperate for a date in like junior high and high school, and nobody was asking me out in my class. So like, zip it. Don't think so.
See, Wendy was the exact same way.
Oh, really? Yeah. I feel like a lot of pinup girls are.
Yeah. She started doing pinup, and she said a lot of guys started hitting her up on Facebook. Oh, I always liked you in high school. It's like, what? Get out of town.
Totally. I'm like, no, you didn't. No. I mean, I definitely did meet up with a few of like my old crushes, like when I was like an adult, like met up with them like for a drink, or they haven't seen you in so long. And I definitely made sure I left with like the upper hand at the end of the
I hear you.
Because it's just like, no, like, why didn't you ask me to Sadie Hawkins, or not Sadie Hawkins, I would ask them, but you know, why didn't you ask me to homecoming? Why didn't you ask me to any of this stuff? So,
yeah. So I'm curious with your overnight success story. And just you've had it so easy.
So easy.
With no stress in your life.
None. Zero.
How is what you're doing today? I mean, you've got projects going on with Local Lindo, the Dapper Day.
Yeah. So, really early on, when I was really young, still a teenager, I started working for clothing companies. Again, I never thought I was going to go on the model side of things. And until I guess my braces came off and everything changed. I don't know, but I always was really interested in how things ran. So I was really fortunate in kind of the beginning of this kind of explosion that happened. I would say like in the, you know, early mid 2000s, these brands coming out of, opening up stores and getting the ball rolling. I did that with a few companies, and then ended up also, modeling on the other side of that. So I finally got out of that about almost 4 years ago. I still had that, that's still in me. I still want to produce and make pretty things to make people feel pretty, because I know how clothing and style really helps me gain, confidence and all of that. So Local Lindo is a LA brand, woman-owned and locally made clothing company, and I have been a long-time customer of theirs. And when I finally had some free time, I think there was a few people that were kind of little not trying to say vultures, but they were kind of just waiting, okay, do you think she's going to want to do something? Do you think she? And I turned down a lot of people, but Local Lindo, it just worked really well. I got along with them so well, and it was also going to be just a seasonal collection that I could design with them, which was really still is rewarding and exciting. So I get to do that, and instead of working 40, 50, 60 hours a week like I used to do, I can work here and there on it and put some stuff together and do that. And then my main gig, though, is being a producer for Dapper Day, which again is something that I used to attend as a guest, and then I used to vend as an exhibitor, and then and he, the founder of Dapper Day wasn't as subtle with it. It was very much, I think I think I'd stopped working for just a few weeks, and he immediately was like, "How do you feel about hosting Dapper Day?" And I was like, "Sure, yes," because I hadn't learned the word no yet.
Yeah.
So I said yes, but I very quickly moved into a producer role because, again, I like making things work behind the scenes. I get to do both, which is good. I do hosting stuff. I mean, you see me we did the Baja Bop where I was a host, and I do enjoy that. I am a people person, but I also have this blue collar. It's a very stylish collar, but it's a blue collar that is in me, that I'm like, no, I must like work. I can't just take pretty photos or just do that. Even though that is real work, man. A day of modeling, your body hurts for like at least 2 days afterwards.
Well, yeah, that's all. It's kind of like what would I do with my clothing? And we worked at Rodeo, and people are like, "Oh, you're so lucky. You get to work in Vegas." And I'm like, "Yeah, we spent 4 days setting this booth up.
Yeah,
my hands are raw, and now I have to work 10 straight days in sales."
Oh yeah, and don't forget the chronic sickness you will get after all of that, where the fatigue and the 5 million germs that you have been around for like traveling stuff. I mean, I know that's a toughie or a sensitive subject now, but I mean, think about it. I worked Magic clothing convention. Oh my gosh. I have no idea. At least over 20 times.
I met you at Magic.
Oh my God. Wait. Oh, wow. Wait, what year?
7 years ago. Maybe
Holy
8.
Moly.
Because what happened was I was dating Wendy, and so we had a booth at Magic, and so she came by. I got her a pass, and then we walked around, and then we went over to the pug booth.
Yeah.
And
oh my God,
remember who, Michelin wasn't there, but the Japanese girl was there.
Oh, you missed talking about Misumi.
Yeah, Misumi. Yeah.
Oh, Misumi. Gotcha. Yeah,
and so
she's not Japanese. I think she's Korean and German.
Sorry. Yeah,
I think so. I'm almost positive. But yeah, those were days, and I've been there as a model or as like an exhibitor. Like I've also gone as like a buyer, and oh my God, the tail end of me doing those shows, I just hated it. And also, the February show was always synced up with my birthday. Always. And I just was like, I would just dread it because I would be working my butt off, like whether walking the whole show or standing the whole show and doing that like for so much. And then of course, it'd be in my 20s and I'm like, well, I still want to go celebrate my birthday and like go and throw a huge party. And I would just be a shell of myself by like the end of it. And then I would have absolutely no voice left over either. So like, how am I supposed to sell dresses or buy dresses
if I can't talk?
Yeah, I was like, I have no voice. I'm barely fluent in sign language over here. So it's, those were tough. But yeah, people are always like, oh, I'm so jealous. I want to go. Yeah. I'm like, why? Like maybe in the early days when we used to like sell off samples and there'd be a lot of like parties connected with it, I could see that.
It wasn't like that in the end. It's just not. I mean, now they have to be so careful about exclusion and inclusion and money and all that they just go, no, we're not going to do the big parties anymore. And so it just becomes work. And then for me, I mean, I'm on the road. I figured not this year. This year was a weird year, but I'm usually on the road 110 to 130 days a year.
Oh my goodness.
Which I thought was a lot until I started doing this show. And that
is a lot.
No.
That's a lot.
Big Sandy's on the road 245 days a year.
I know. And I swear I see him the other 100 days all the time. I will always run into him, which is crazy because I think his home base is Anaheim.
Yeah.
And I would always see him all the time. But it was funny because I always knew he was on the road. Because I would see friends posting throughout his show and Texas or Washington or like England or like whatever. And then I was with Sandy and I'm like, weren't you supposed to be in another country right now?
But I was.
Yeah, I was. Or, I've also, I've traveled a handful of times being a model for like vintage hair classes. And I remember one time I went with my dear buddy, Tony Medina, his Vintage Touch. We did a show or class in Houston, in Texas. And it was so great. The venue we did it at, later that night, there was a big Sandy show, which I was so excited. So it was so cool. We got to, it was the most rockabilly day of all, just start your day.
Just show up and he happens to be there.
With vintage hairstyling and end it with Big Sandy. That's always been great. And yeah, me and him actually, oh my gosh, like the last major gig I did before lockdown was the Ameripolitan Music Awards, and me and Big Sandy were the hosts for that. Yeah. And that was, in Memphis, and we partied. It was so funny. I felt like we partied so hard that it was such an amazing, that whole event is so much fun. And I feel like unless you go to it, you don't really understand it exactly, but you get like, almost a week of all these really cool, intimate gigs and then funny things. There's like chicken shit bingo and I don't know, all this bizarre Southern stuff. And it was, we saw these great, like runway shows, and it was just a really fun thing. And then you're in this historical music town. And then, at the end you have this big award show, and I just felt so connected. And it's a real like musicians weekend. Like, so you see people just so, you got the Rev standing right next to you, and not standing next to you behind like a rope. He's just right there,
yeah.
Nick 13, and everyone is just there, and everyone just really gets relaxes and has so much fun. And we all joke now. I've messaged, a few people that I was hanging out with that weekend where I'm like, did we just like unintentionally know that was going to be the last time we were all going to be together? Right? And is that why we stayed up till like 6 a.m. like jamming out like in the green room, or we went real hard for that weekend, but it was so much fun. And oh man, I can't wait for things like that to happen again, because definitely being missed. But hey, 2021, I guess I'm saying it here on the podcast, we will do it again at some point in 2021. It will happen again.
What's interesting is I like I said, for over a decade now, I've been on the road, and I haven't spent a month. Up until this time, I hadn't spent a month at home straight, and now it's been months on end. So, but now I'm like, I want to get back on the road. It's like I used to curse it, and like I'm glad I had this year off for the rodeo, because it's kind of nice to just reset and not spend 16 days in Vegas. But but I'm excited. I've had a couple friends go, what are we? They're like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like for 10, 15, 20 years, people have been going to the rodeo, and now they're not. So maybe it's a good reset.
I heard a rumor it might not be in Vegas next year.
It will be.
You think it will be?
Yeah. I
hope so. Gosh, I mean, that is such a huge thing. I mean, I remember so much as a little girl seeing all the cute cowboys everywhere, like around Christmas time.
They had a big deal with it was just with the Las Vegas Tourism Board. They threatened to move to Orlando. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like, good segue there, because with me producing Dapper Day, so Dapper Day, we're our own company. We focus on doing stylized events for anybody to feel good. We do a lot of stuff with museums here in Southern California. We do LACMA, Natural History Museum. We did stuff at Clifton's, but of course, everyone knows us for like our days that we do at Disney parks, and we tie in at the Disneyland one in California. We tie in this giant 2-day expo. It's 30,000 square feet. There's bands, there's shopping, there's seminars. Plus, there's obviously the fun day at Disneyland that you can have. So our events are always spring and fall, and it lands April and November. And April was like everything ended. I mean, rest in peace, Viva. This year everybody was so upset about that, but it was so necessary. We needed to stop. And so, everything was shut down in April. But then for our fall events, Disneyland is still shut down. We couldn't do our expo, can't do our outing. But, freaking Florida is open.
Yep.
Florida's been open, I think, since, it was June they opened. So we weren't able to we do pop-up shops up there. It's not an expo, but we do a very, very small curation of our projects and one or two other, our products and one or two other vendors inside Disney parks and on Disney property. It's really cool because I'm a big theme park and Disney dork. So it's great to have like a Disney name tag for like the weekend and not the Disney headache. So it's so great. But yeah, so we weren't able to do that, but like our outings are still happening. And then we do outings in Disneyland Paris, and that park is open. And, I know Paris, I think they were going to shut down, or I think they're kind of like in limbo right now. But, oh man, Florida is like, wow. I mean, I know they're not the West, but we always joke they're the wild, wild West. We're like, what? Their rules their own rules over there. I don't know. It's very interesting.
Are you going to do anything, do you think, with the Japan? The Disney in Tokyo? That's been discussed a lot internally. Just the logistics of that are a little daunting. We were really wanting to put some serious energy behind our Paris one, to not just do something with the parks, but just do something, over there, just like how we do with museums, and so people understand it's not Disney related or Disney specific. Trust me, we have people who think that like Disney runs Dapper Day, and we're like, no, it's just like three of us over here. This is our thing. So I mean, of course, the goal is to really take it anywhere or everywhere, but I think we had all these plans. We wanted to do this. Obviously, everything did not happen. But on the swing side of everything is that we were able to do so much behind the scenes housekeeping. And I think anybody with a small business, to be able to like, hey, you now have time to build a new website and switch your email platform like to do stuff like that. Like that's huge. So I feel like, 2021 is going to hopefully, we'll be ready to go, or 2022, whatever, we'll take it. But, the reason I asked you about Japan is that it's interesting. I'm interviewing somebody next week, I believe. It's not 100%, but it's what we both agreed on. And she's Masaki Aona, and she's the lead singer of the Biz Cats, a Tokyo-based rockabilly group that played in Viva last year.
Oh, okay. I think I caught them.
She was in the music video for 5 Seconds of Summer. Have you seen that music video, Youngblood?
No, but I will definitely go check it out. Were they in the smaller room?
I don't know. I wasn't there. And so 5 Seconds of Summer is a pop band, and they did a video called Youngblood, and it's literally you'll love the video, but it's about the Japanese rockabilly scene.
Oh, cool! Yeah, I'll have to go check it out.
And she was the lead in it. So I just Googled, I wanted to find out who the two leads were, and I found out, and I found out she's a lead singer. Her dad was in the Black Cats, which met. Oh, wow! With Big Sandy's. So that's crazy. What a small world. Yeah. So I'm actually interviewing, and so, but she doesn't speak English. So yesterday I talked to a translator who happens to be my daughter's high school friend. Oh, cool. Who's a translator for Sony. So it's just, wow. It's just, so I mean, that's what he does for a living. So he speaks, he's Japanese. His parents are second generation, but he speaks. Yeah. So I'm talking to him, and it was just like everything's working out. That's great. But, how wild. That's awesome. I know I have a lot of friends that have gone over there for rockabilly stuff and for Disney stuff. And they're like, it's just, you just have to go. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll go. I'll do it. Twist my arm. And now you can do this as a write-off, as research for Dapper Day. This is true. Oh my gosh. Yes, we can do this. I'm into it. I will have the credit card ready. Yeah, right. Well, the one thing that I'm getting out of talking to you is, and you even said it, you don't say no. And it seems like
Yeah.
that's really critical that people are open to being able to say yes to things, or asking to do things. And all of a sudden, I found that with my podcast. Like I asked you, and I'm like, oh, she'll never say yes. And boom, she says yes.
I did say yes.
So
it took me a little bit to say yes because I don't check my messages enough, but I did say yes.
But, I mean, it's the same way. It's like you're saying yes to all these things. All of a sudden you end up hosting in Memphis and you have things going in Paris and Houston. And I mean, it's kind of cool. You get to satisfy your travel bug.
Oh, yes. And I got that bug. That bug is in me, from like birth. But I feel like the last few years, I did learn how to say no on things that I think we just have to listen to our guts a little more of just like, I don't want to do that. Or like, no, or like, I try to imagine the reaction my face is giving when I read the proposal. And if it's really squinting and just like, I'm like, okay, that's
no.
Going to be a no. But on things where, it is an opportunity or I'm curious or like it's different. I think that's a big thing too, especially in this industry with rockabilly or vintage. I mean, we are essentially going over the same music, the same styles, the same, we all have a little bit of this obsession of like, we all really like this. And as much as like, this is what I really love, doing something a little different, not doing the same old, pardon the phrase, like just polka dots and cherries, pushing it, changing it. And even in the platforms of how we do it, or, like it is exciting, and those things, you want to be a part of that because you don't want to have fatigue in things that you love, as much as you love, like I compare it to like your favorite food. If your favorite food is sushi, but you eat sushi every single day, like you're going to get sick of sushi. Even though sushi is great, it's amazing, and it's your favorite, you don't want to have it the same thing the same way every single day. So.
Well, as you know, I'm in the Western clothing industry, so whenever I get the samples, my wife goes, "Oh, look, more plaid. Look, a blue plaid. Hey, a red plaid. Hey, a black plaid. A green plaid. Hey, another red plaid."
Yeah, I feel, but then you always are like, I do need plaid. Like, I need the plaid. Like, I want this.
Yeah,
but I also want something like, I do also want those special or different things, or like the extra razzle dazzle, the embroidery, the pearl buttons, the chain stitching. That you think of like ways you can make it different and special and still exciting. So I mean, there's always a joke me and my husband say, because my husband is a big DJ as well, and I'm really fortunate where he DJs really everything, and not like someone that's like, I like everything. Like, no, he likes trip hop and loves like, he's really influenced by like French DJs that do like club stuff, and just he is incredible. But he also does rockabilly and R&B stuff, and we always joke like, when you hear the word "well," it's like, oh, that must be a rockabilly song because it starts with "well," like everything.
Exactly.
Think how many songs that start with "well." It's like they all do. That's okay.
That's funny. What's the favorite place you've visited so far?
My favorite place for work. I guess probably London. Though I've been to London and, England, I've been there a bunch of times for work and for play. I really, really do love London. Like I think I don't ever like their politics so much, but I do love their buildings, their history, their food. I love their music scene in London. I love pubs. I love all of that stuff. So I feel like that's probably my favorite place. Oh, and then I had a photo shoot and spent a week in Merida, Mexico. So like in the Yucatan. Oh, wow. And that was incredible. We stayed in some amazing house that was like something during the war. I wish I had more information on it, but the ceilings were like 20 feet up, and it had like a pool on the inside, and it was incredible. And I shot a campaign there for a clothing company, and that was incredible. But I really do travel a lot just for pleasure. If I can tie in work with it, I will. But I am a workaholic, so a lot of times I'll try to just not and just go for play. Like, I loved going to Spain for high rockabilly. That was, oh my gosh, that I was not expecting to be so obsessed with Spain. I wish I would have spent more time in Barcelona, because high rockabilly is in Calafell, which is a very sleepy, small beach town, which is really charming. It reminds me of a lot of great beach towns in like Mexico. But Barcelona was like, it was like New York City, Paris, and like the Little Mermaid had a baby and named it Barcelona. Like, it was so beautiful. And yeah, I loved going to Paris. I've been to Germany for Let's Get Wild, their Rockabilly New Year's show, which that was an incredible, literal wild weekend. And on those trips, yeah, I didn't book any work. I was like, no, I want to, have fun. I think that always kind of made me a little different than a majority of the pinup models that you saw out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that they weren't necessarily into the scene or the music or whatever, but I first and foremost was like a rockabilly chick that loved to dance, and like I wanted to do all of that stuff before getting in front of a camera. So that never really died in me, and I think that's why I get asked for these. I was going to say,
that's why you get asked. Yeah.
I think that's why I get asked for these hosting gigs, because I think there's probably a little bit of confusion where they're like, does Doris, like, does she sing? Can she play a guitar? And I'm like, not a lick. Nope. Not
happening.
I'm like, no. They're like, she's just someone that we know is so passionate about this and knows these songs and knows these artists and, goes to these things. And, I guess, like,
well, you're quite the dancer too, word. So.
Oh, depends what shoes I'm wearing. No, thank you. Yeah, I love dancing, and it's just been. I'm so scared to go out into public to dance for like the first time when this is all over, because I'm just I feel like I've got nothing now. I'm like, I haven't danced, and
I know.
I think the last time I really, really danced was February. I went out to Vegas to go visit my goddaughter, and I went to a rockabilly show out there with oh my gosh, who played? Oh, Cherry Rat and oh my gosh, the Trembling Souls, her girlfriend Steph. I totally forgot her stage name. But yeah, and it was such a great show, and everyone DJ'd, and I danced so much I ripped my velvet pants, took an Uber. It was funny, I was wearing a black lyrics top and red velvet pants, ripped my pants, snuck away, took an Uber to my parents' house, changed, I had a backup black lyrics dress, came back,
and
started dancing, and people were looking at their Instagram stories, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah. Same night?
Yeah, same night. Yeah. I was like, no, I want to dance. I want to keep dancing. In Vegas, you can dance till like 4 a.m. out there. So
that's the difference. You don't get shut down.
Yeah, you don't get shut down. You just get kicked out, You just
move to the
rolled
next place.
Out. Yeah, guys, like, you just get rolled out to go to Frankie's Tiki Room. That's all. I've seen one too many sunrises walking out of Frankie's Tiki Room when I lived there.
my wife used to say the same thing. Because she'd get off like at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning from her shift, and she said she knew she had to go home when the sun was coming up. Yeah,
that's when you know you got to go. You're like, all right, we gotta. You believe you get some tacos at Tacos Mexico, either 1, 2, or 3. They have 3 locations, and then you go home.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you move on. Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
Since you have a Vegas girl. Oh wait, but I was going to ask her like the important question, which is like, is she Frankie's Tiki Room or is she Golden Tiki? Because Golden Tiki is like the new, I can't say new because it's been there for years now, but it's only, I think it probably opened up after she moved away.
Yeah.
So I can say she probably hasn't gone to Golden Tiki. Golden Tiki is kind of like the Disneyland of tiki bars, and then like Frankie's Tiki Room is like your like cool uncle's basement tiki bar, you know, like your punk rock uncle's tiki bar. Like I love Frankie's. Frankie's will always have like my heart, but I of course appreciate Golden Tiki because they have Dole Whips, so, and animatronics.
Oh, now I gotta go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, Vegas has grown and changed so much. It's bonkers. It also feels a lot like LA now when I go visit. I'm like,
and it's going to get more and more as more people leave LA. There's a lot of are ending up in Vegas.
For sure, I know. It's I mean, I definitely each year I would see more and more of my LA friends in Vegas because I lived in LA I moved from Vegas to Minneapolis, lived there for a little bit, and then moved to LA. So I was in LA for 9 years, and then me and my husband got hitched in September and, moved to San Diego the same month. So he's born and raised San Diego. He just spent a few years in Mexico when he was a kid, but he's born and raised local San Diego. So he wasn't budging, and I love San Diego. It's beautiful, and I spent a lot of fun summers here as like a kid.
Yeah.
My mom's best friend lived out here, so it was a pretty easy decision, especially since I already work from home.
I was like, there are worse places to say you live.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally worse places. And yeah, I just kind of was like, I get to walk around Balboa Park, and the zoo is actually open, and I typically have a zoo pass, and I still have a zoo pass.
They just closed it.
Did they just close it?
It's closed
maybe because of the lockdown.
On Monday.
Yeah, but they would. Oh yeah. Well, it's been open, but I couldn't go. I paid for my pass still. I was like, I'll still support and feed the animals, but I just don't. You just don't. I don't trust people. There's too many, Karens and Kevins in the wild, and I see it too much. And I'm like, I'm not going to fight with someone next to my stepdaughter, like because they're not wearing a mask.
Yeah.
So we'll just we'll watch, animal videos at home.
Well, that's where we're at now. It's kind of
for real. God bless YouTube, Google. Like it's made it, it's made it livable and interesting. And I call my stepdaughter my peanut. She obviously does Zoom school.
Yeah.
And I mean, give it up to the teachers. They all deserve a raise and some wine for sure, because they're doing all of that. But it has been really great. I love, because I already work from home. I'm a big dork. Again, I went to college when I was like 16. So, being her tutor is like the thrill of my life right now, where I'm like, let's learn long division. Let's go. Like, and she hates it, but I love it. But yeah, it's been really cool. We watch these YouTube videos every Thursday to learn how to draw something. And by the end of the video, we both have drawn something, which is crazy. I'm like, where was this when I was in school? Like when I was a kid, I can barely write my name. Like when someone asks for an autograph, I like apologize. I'm like, I'm sorry. It looks like a weird picture of a lake with a mountain in it. I don't know what that is. But now I drew like a holiday toast. I drew a haunted house. I've drawn an otter. And I'm like, this is incredible. Like, where the heck was this? My art teacher did squat when I was in elementary school.
One thing I was going to ask you too, then, because that's a perfect segue, is making lemonade out of lemons, right? I mean, 2020 has been an overall pretty crappy year in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, like my podcast has grown because a lot of the business travelers I wanted to talk to, like Big Sandy, he was hard to get a hold of because he was always traveling. But now that they're not traveling, they have time to talk to me on podcasts.
Now we're all grounded.
Yeah, so my podcast has grown because of the lockdown. So
it's true.
And some businesses have I mean, online sales have gone through the roof. I mean, I have friends that in my business that have internet sales business, and they're doubled. So for them, they're like, hey, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, there's been, obviously, with Dapper Day, we do these events, but we also do our own products. And like I said, we had had a website that was like a little dinky. So we're like, let's Shopify and zhuzh it up and let's curate some things. And for sure, it's the most successful year we've had for online stuff. I mean, it doesn't compare to like, you know, these beautiful large events we used to do, but there's things where, yeah, you can refocus and you see the good. I mean, I'm like, yeah, dude, I got married. That's crazy. I don't think that would have happened without the pandemic. And, you know, even with the Black Lives Matter movement, I think it forced a lot of people to have a lot of really serious conversations, not just with their family or friends, but with themselves, and really putting, you know, different priorities and, you know, seeing things and understanding things. And I had some of the deepest and darkest conversations with, darkest sounds terrible, but like, you know, like really deep conversations with, you know, my future husband. And towards like the end of all of, or not the end of it, because we're all still going through it, but it really made us just go, let's get married. Like, I love you and I want to be here for you always. And we should do this, and we don't need a giant party. You know, I throw giant parties for a living. I don't want to throw another giant party. So to me, I'm always like, as depressing as this year has been, you know, I wake up next to the love of my life, who used to be my old MySpace crush 13 years ago. So funny how that works. So
now we got it.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's it wasn't just MySpace. We can't just thank what's his name, Tom. No, his one of his sisters married one of my best friends that I met through the rockabilly scene in Vegas. Married them. So while they were dating, because she was from San Diego and we lived in Vegas, her family would come out to kind of get to know this guy better. And that's when we met. And we were totally like, you're so cute. I'm so cute. We're all cute. Like, you know, we should maybe try to date. I don't even think we really said the word date, but then I was in an on and off relationship. He was in an on and off relationship, and it was just never on or off at the right time. So we always stayed friends. And then, he popped out a kid, and, you know, that was great. And I saw everything from a distance, and we'd run into each other, and it was always, we just were like, oh, great, you're just going to be a friend that I see once a year, a few times a year. Yeah, just, you know, and barely hang out. It was just one of those, you just always kind of kept in touch. And then, man, we both finally, about 2 years ago, were like on at the same time. So I kind of jumped at that chance where I was like, sweet, I'm going to finally get to make out with this guy. That was my only intention. That was literally my only goal. Was it. Because I was like finally single after a long time, and I was just trying to be a makeout bandit. And I even double booked a date that day. Like, literally was not my intention to marry this man. And then here we are. So, you know.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It's so funny. It's I think we'll have to explain that to the peanut later on.
Yeah,
but,
I was gonna say. Well,
she's always like, wait, so you knew each other how long? Why didn't I know you? And I'm like, we'll explain this when you're a little older.
Exactly. Well, I always tell, like with Wendy and I, everything's timing. For sure. I mean, just, you know, everything in life is timing. I mean, not just meeting people, like, you know, you've gone through you've worked for some companies that went through some tumultuous times. And I'm sure at the time you were like, oh my God, this is terrible and horrific. And oh my God, what am I going to do? And, but then things come out of it, you know? Yeah. Now you're producing Dapper Day and traveling, you know? So. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I never try to look back going like, why? Like, I hate when I hear people being like, why doesn't this happen to me? Why doesn't that happen? When people play like a victim to everything, like it really drives me crazy, because I'm like, it's all about the opportunity of learning. It's all about maybe accepting that this isn't the time for you or for this, or like, maybe this isn't like, I've always kind of tried to, have that, because I think I saw it firsthand with my dad, or my family's in the casino industry since like the 70s, and I saw my dad go through so
many different positions or hotels or whatever, and different opportunities that always came up because he always remained positive. He always remained friendly. He said yes to things that genuinely interested him. And I saw so much change. And there was absolute lows in there. There's no way. Because both of us at that point, we just didn't learn the lessons that we needed to learn for us to be good partners together now.
Gotcha.
We would have destroyed each other.
Yeah. Well,
so.
That's
like I destroyed all of my ex-boyfriends. He would have been part of that. So.
But that I always tell my wife that's the way it was supposed to be, though, right? Because
for sure.
I had to get divorced and all that to become available for her to meet me. So everything just is timing.
Totally. And I'm so in love with his stepdaughter. She's amazing. Him and his ex-wife did an incredible job with her. And I'm just like, I could never have made her. I don't have that DNA. And, this all needed to happen for a reason. So. What's that?
Are you still planning on the Dapper Day for April?
We are planning A, planning B, planning C. So we are definitely moving forward with making sure we have something in place, whatever is going to be allowed. And again, it is very different with California versus Florida versus Paris. So we are still hoping that there's something, that we can do. I don't think anything for the beginning part of this year is going to look like anything used to. There's got to be capacity. There's got to be restrictions. There's got to be even location. Like, do you do things indoors? Do you do things outdoors? Yeah. Like, something's going to be different. But we definitely do want to be able to still provide something special for our audience. They deserve it. We deserve it. But most importantly, and myself and my boss do not mess around with this. We got to be safe. We got to be smart. No one wants to go do something and catch something and then live with that, association with that event. You don't want to do that. That, first of all, is a PR nightmare. But also we don't want people to experience that. So it's, we are planning, but like I said, in this day of age, you plan for A, B, and C.
So my question, I guess, is more of the business side. Is, you have the big expo with vendors and all that. How are you going to make that? Are you going to make that refundable if it doesn't happen, or how do people? You're in the same boat.
Yes, totally. And my heart always goes into that position for them because I used to be a vendor and exhibitor. So what we've been doing is rolling things forward. We've absolutely given opportunities if they want to do a refund. We do have deposits, but our deposits will go towards whatever future thing. So we've made it all. We've given our vendors all the opportunities or options, because we're a small business too, and we want to make sure that they survive, we survive. And that was a big part with us developing more of an online presence. Is we wanted to have some of these vendors be available on our website, so people who can't go to the expo that, maybe they still want to buy it. So I think currently we just have a handful, but a handful is better than the zero that we used to have.
Yeah.
But of, vendors that, selling their products on our site, which is great, and I think even moving forward with having expos or marketplaces or however we're going to do this, we still want to have that online aspect because even if, and I'm definitely one of those people, even if, everyone says, all right, go, everything's fine, there's going to be a percentage of people who are not fine with that or are still high risk. And we still want them to have that opportunity. And, so we still are trying to find ways that we can, work with people and do all of that. So,
we're in the same boat because part of my crowd is very much not anti-mask, but not as big of a deal on mask. The Western industry, they're cowboys.
My family's from West Virginia originally, so you don't got to explain.
So they want to do all the rodeos and all that, but there's got to be my boss. They're doing the NFR because it was indoors at Thompson Mack Center. wasn't going to be allowed. So they moved to Dallas, Texas. They're in Fort Worth right now. And the rodeo is happening in Texas Ranger Stadium because it's outdoors. But they're doing these parties at night, and my boss just sent me some pictures from it, and there's thousands of people dancing it up like nothing's going on. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I mean, I don't think it's that. I don't think it's as extreme as one side, but I don't think it's as open as the other side. You know what I mean? It's like,
for sure, yeah. And I think it's also very. I think it's situational too, in the sense of like where the virus can mutate or change, or right. Like there's so many things that are like, why didn't this happen over here, but this happened over here? Like it's science. I'm not a scientist. I can't explain this, but can we just please, like,
totally agree.
Can we just please like try to have things with the best intention? And like for one, I like wearing a mask because as a woman, it is really uncomfortable. The amount of times how many people will get very close to you to try to talk to you, and that's something that like it just happened the other day in the post office. I had a guy come up to me, tell me how pretty I was, which I was like, sir, you can't see my face. Like, you can't even, you can barely see my eyes. You're lucky I brushed my hair, but he was like 4 inches from my face.
Hey, Doris, I don't mean to shoot you down, but he said the same thing to me.
I knew it.
I'm just saying.
I didn't feel special. Okay. I felt used. But you know, it was wild because, you know, and regardless of him having good intentions or whatever, like that's fine.
Too close is too close.
Like I told my husband, I'm like, I know that man would have stood that close to me even without the mask. Like he would have been that close, because I've experienced that like countless times, like just that personal space. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm like, I like wearing the mask, and it's nice. I don't got to smell people's stinky breath. Like it's a nice little BO blocker from other people too. Like I'm okay with it. I'm fine with it. I don't got to like worry about wearing makeup. Like,
I was gonna say, how's that affect your makeup though?
Oh, it's great. Like what makeup? It's awesome. You know, I take a little break from it. And when I do get to wear makeup, I'm like so excited. And like, I feel like a little revived, and I get so excited when I get to put on lipstick. And I definitely will have days where I'll get like quote unquote dressed up at home just to feel a little extra good and do that. But, yeah, no, I'm like it. I'm like, I'm going to keep wearing these masks after this.
Yeah, my wife is getting dressed up now for Target.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I do normally like serve looks at the post office and at the grocery store. Yeah. I'm like, here I am. But you can only imagine, like, being, I was a creative director, a boutique manager, a model, now clothing designer, producer, all that stuff. I have an insane amount of clothes. So it's crazy. So I'm like, someone's got to wear this cocktail dress somewhere. Like whether it's on Zoom or something, I have to wear these clothes. So
you're the reason. You're the reason why my wife goes, well, just imagine if you were married to someone like Doris. So I'm like, oh my God, how much more stuff do you need? She goes, as much as I can get.
But let me tell you, I'm a purger. I get rid of stuff. I definitely, I sell them, I flip them, I donate them. I get rid of things because I know in my industry I will accumulate always. And I definitely, the older I get, the more I just want to have priorities of like what I actually really want, and what that whole like what sparks joy, like that totally works.
I bought a men's sweater from you at the garage sale.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, I used to do those yard sales all the time, and just like get rid of them, like just take it, have it at their home, and I don't overcharge or whatever, because I'd rather have the peace of mind it's going to a new home and that I have the space like in my place. So yeah, I think the biggest thing that sparked that with me is I've moved across country twice.
And that's when you have to purge.
Exactly. And you have to be like, do I really want this? So once I did that, a few times, I have very few things or clothes that have like sentimental value to me. Like, I'm just like, no, bye. But that's okay. That's fine with it. So, but yeah, I also, as much as I do like to get dressed up, man, I love yoga pants, but I do yoga. So I at least use my yoga pants for yoga. So I don't go to Target in my yoga pants. No shame on people that do, but so yeah, I do definitely still wear my comfies. And also with local Lindo, they do a lot of lounge sets.
Yeah.
So sometimes I get very like Norma Desmond and wear like my, matching lounge sets and throw on like a turban and, terrify my husband.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas, my wife's a Pilates instructor, so she wears yoga pants for work.
Yeah.
And so she'll go out in them, but she's like, when we, literally, like we just went to Target, I think 2 weeks ago. She's like, all, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, we're going to Target. She goes, I know.
Yeah.
I'm like,
that's their runway right now.
But I'm like, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I thought we were going to Target.
There's many times where me and my husband, we love to go for walks in our neighborhood because we're like right next to Balboa Park and all of that. So we go for walks almost pretty much every day. And there's sometimes he'll see my outfit and he's like wearing sweats and like a zip up hoodie and he's like, I'm gonna wear this, and I'm like, I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. You can wear that. Like, I'm like, it's not my fault if you don't want to be cute. I'm not. Yeah, that's cool.
See. I get the same crap.
Yeah. See, I don't think I'm not forcing him to get dressed up. I'm like, you can wear that. It's cool.
Yeah,
like,
but
I'm like, if you feel uncomfortable in it, that's your own issue. That is not my issue. Like, if I want to get dressed up, if I want to wear this, I'm not going to force you to get dressed up, because essentially it's like that weird peer pressure that you try to avoid. You're then now putting it on someone else for not dressing up, and you're like, what? You just wear what you want to wear.
And that's what I tell her. I'm like, she's got the full jacket and this and that. I'm like, what? All right.
Yeah. And you know what, though? Every now and then, I think because we're not dressing up as much, sometimes you can start to feel a little self-conscious of dressing up. But I don't know if it's like baby Jesus or whatever, but I swear whenever I have those moments and I go out, someone will compliment me on like my outfit or like on something like that. And it's not so much a compliment of, regardless of them trying to say that I look nice or whatever, like a lot of times they say like how nice it is to see it, like that it makes the person feel good that people aren't just giving up. I guess. So it is a nice encouragement that, when you do dress up, obviously do it for yourself, feel good, whatever that means to you. But,
sure.
That it does really affect and inspire and, potentially like encourage other people to dress up. Things like, depression, people really, a lot of times you can tell when someone is depressed, not always. But a big thing that goes right away is your appearance. And I know a lot of therapists out there and doctors out there are like, you try. Sometimes even when you fake the funk a little bit, you can actually kind of shake the funk a little bit, you know? So I always try to think of that, every now and then when you feel a little insecure. But I usually don't feel that insecure because, again, started in punk rock. It's hard to have any F's about anything. So.
It's interesting. We went to, for our anniversary, we went to Crustacean in Beverly Hills. Yeah.
I know that. Is that a restaurant?
Yeah, pre-COVID.
Okay. Yeah.
And we went, it was last October, and so we're sitting out on the patio, and the owner of the restaurant, the husband of the owner, comes out and says, and obviously not to me, but I was dressing nice, but to Wendy, thank you so much for dressing up. It's great to see. She was all dolled up. She had the big hat, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And he literally came out to our table and thanked us for dressing nice.
That's amazing. That's great. Well, that's a big thing with Dapper Day. Like a lot of people think Dapper Day is supposed like, we're supposed to dress in 1950s. We're like, no. it's about dressing up, whatever that is for you. And a big thing with doing it at the parks is when the parks first opened, which happened to be in the 1950s.
Yeah.
People did dress up, and people really, for like the first 20 years of that park, or just in America, I feel like up until like the 70s, they really did still put time, effort, energy into their looks. Now, there's some things where were they doing it for the right reasons? I don't know. Sometimes they weren't, and and that's not okay. But for people who generally really did enjoy putting these looks and together to go out, there kind of became this opposite movement of people being like, well, no, you can you don't need to dress like that, or you don't need to keep up with the Joneses. And then you had just this different, and then you had grunge, and you had grunge, and then yoga, and then all these things that just kind of happened. And people, they became the opposite, where when you were dressed up, people then made fun of you for dressing up. And I remember that as a teen. I remember wearing a polka dotted dress. I had little cat eye glasses, and I remember going down an escalator, and a bunch of older kids, they had to be 18, 19, 20, coming up the escalator and pointing at me and laughing. And I was because of what I was wearing, and they were wearing sweatshirts and whatever. And it was crazy. And I also remember my first boyfriend. First time I came over with red lipstick on and not chapstick. He told me I looked like a clown. Yeah, he told me I looked like a clown, and I was like,
wow.
What? And then of course, then I was broke up with him. But we became for a while then talking down about people dressing up, which was very strange. And then I really do think with social media, with the internet, with all of that, then people started building confidence, because you could dress up at home, take pictures, and kind of, gauge people's responses, or find communities that were into what you were into. And then you feel that support, and you're like, I do like this. You're always going to have an element or percentage that's going to people trying to, keep up with the Joneses and trying to emulate something that maybe they don't really like. But I think overall, we're definitely, before COVID, we were definitely in the swing of things of people feeling a lot more empowerment with personal style. And I hope that when this is all over, it'll be essentially like a renaissance, like how renaissances normally happen, let's not forget the 1920s. People talk about that time period, but hello, the Spanish flu was right before that. We were experiencing that right before that. And then the 20s happened, and it was an explosion of art and culture and style. And I hope that happens now.
This is, you're going to think I'm making this up, but Wendy and I literally had that same talk yesterday while we were walking our dog.
Oh, really? Yeah. Me and my boss have talked about it all the time, because we're just there has to be something that comes out of this.
She thinks people will start dressing up, because we talk the same things. Like when you watch people and you look at the old video, there's a really cool aerospace museum in Balboa Park.
Yes.
And they have some of the stewardesses' outfits from those times in the 60s and 70s. Mm-hmm. And Wendy's like, and then you look at the pictures, when you used to go on a plane, it was a big deal. So you dressed up. It was suits for guys, and it was dresses for women. Mm-hmm. And now it's flip-flops, yoga pants, and a T-shirt. Yeah.
It's it's crazy, because when I go on a plane, I dress up, but I actually dress up wearing my biggest article of clothing just so I have more room in my luggage. So, I dress up for style, but I dress up also so I have more room, because yoga pants take up no room in your luggage. But a circle skirt with a crinoline and your sweater with a cardigan, that takes up a lot of room. So that's what you'll see me. And then you can take your cardigan and use it as a pillow while you sleep, and your crinoline as a blanket. So
how is because I travel with my wife, which is an experience.
Very nice.
We went to Hawaii because I have to go there for work, and so I'm taking my work clothes and then beach clothes. My work clothes are cowboy boots, jeans, and a plaid shirt. she's like, well, we're going to go to dinner this night, and we're going to, and she literally brought pinup after pinup after pinup, and she wore them, but she goes, the next time we come, I'm not going to bring so much. It was like 3 suitcases, and I was like, oh my God, lady.
Oh, no. I'm a 1 suitcase lady. I pack with like intentions. Some people can they can throw everything. Like they have like outfits for every. I'm like, no. Like I know what I'm doing. I will pack for that. And then I will pack a handful of items that I can mix and match with, or just, an easy throw and go thing where I know that I might have to run an errand or do something, that I can always just grab that one dress to do the things. Right. Essentially the non-fixture dress, the dress that you're like, oh, I need to run to the front desk. Oh, I need, I need to go get some food. I need to go do that stuff where I'll have just one of those dresses. Because I don't want to. I hate having more than one bag of luggage. Like when I have to have one bag, one luggage, and then one carry-on, it's like a nightmare for me. I try to make it as small as possible. Yeah, I really don't like having because you know why? Because then there's multiple chances of your luggage getting lost. So
you don't want to lose everything in one visit.
Yeah, that's true. But I think I've had a lot of friends lose luggage.
I know, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to lose it all.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I had a girlfriend do hair in New York Fashion Week, and she packed her creme de la creme vintage stuff, and it got lost. And my heart went out.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't even know what to.
That's a punch in the gut
you can't replace that. Yeah.
Well, that's
so crazy.
I was going to ask you too, is hair and makeup, how hard is it to travel knowing that, when you go to Memphis or, the Houston stuff, I mean, that's got to be, isn't that a big part of your bag as well? Or are you just consolidating?
I am I swear I'm not making this up. I'm such a, when I travel a lot with friends, whether it is with work or with these rockabilly conventions or weekenders, or I also, before COVID, Amber Fox, who played on the cruise. A group of friends, we would always go to ghost towns and travel and do things like that. I am so minimal with what I bring and what I do and how fast I can get ready. I'll travel and I'll see people just take over the counters and counters, floors, tables. They need everything, and that's okay. That's fine. We all get ready. But I just kind of know it works, and I swear my curling iron for the longest time, for the last 5 years that I've had my curling iron, which I think I've had my curling iron for 10 years. It didn't even have the handle part, it had fallen off, and I still would. And people would look at me and they're like, "You literally get product sent to you." But I'm like, "I like this curling iron." They're like, "It's burning your hand." I'm like, "I don't even feel it anymore." I'm a very simple creature, and I also learned how to just do things very just be a little bit of a multitasker. I'll set my hair and put it in a scarf, and make sure I just have my bangs out, and that alone looks cute. So when I get out of the airport or have to go somewhere or check in somewhere, I still look cute without having to do anything. And then when I show up and I check in, then all I have to do is take out my curl. So my hair is already done. That's done. And then I just need to put on my face. And I've been doing the same face for 16 years. So I can do that in 10 minutes. So it's
now hold on a second. You say 10 minutes.
No, I swear to God, I can get ready in 10 minutes. I can do my makeup in 10 minutes.
My wife says the same thing, and it's not 10 minutes.
Sometimes it shows. 20 minutes is preferred, but I can do it in 10.
Okay, so there it is right there, see?
Yeah. Yeah, no, wait, I mean, well, if you give any person doing makeup, if you give them all the time in the world, we will take it. We will make this a spa experience. Don't you forget. But yeah, we very, very easily can be oh, okay, I know what I can do. And I think that with a lot of people who are really influenced with style or really want style a part of their day-to-day look, you know what your shortcuts are, what your easy things are. And I definitely have to do that because, man, there are times where I'll be traveling to go somewhere for work, and then you will run into somebody in the airport bathroom that follows you on Instagram, or they flew in because they're excited to be there for the show too, and you don't want to look like a hobgoblin because then you kind of ruin the experience. Yeah, you just look. I remember one time checking into Disney. I was in Florida. I was doing a pop-up, and I looked crazy. I took a midnight flight, and I from another event, so I wasn't able to do my like hair setting or like I was just like go 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 go. Get in. Of course, there's an issue with the room because it's like a conference from Disney. So like, there wasn't in the system or like blah 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 blah. They like had my real last name versus like my stage name, and it was so I had to talk to the manager who was running everything, and she was a huge Doris Mayday fan, and I just was like, I am a goblin right now. And of course, she's like, no, you're not. I'm like, no, you're a liar. That's cute. And I made sure that when I got ready, I came back down. I wanted to come back down just to thank her for fixing everything, but also to redeem my goblin status, where I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, look, I'm not a goblin. I promise. It's not just filters. I swear. But she was really nice about it. And now I follow her on Instagram. So go figure.
Well, that's just the reality of it, though. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah, everyone likes the pictures of Wendy all done up, and I'm like, yeah, but that's the pinup.
Yeah, like this is what we look. I mean, for a long time, I got asked a lot, and thankfully it has stopped because I think there's just been so much momentum with, women and just equal rights and sexism and feminism and all of that stuff. But I used to get asked all the time, like, who are you dressing up for? Or like, I would get asked all the time in interviews. Oh yeah, I would get asked all the time in interviews, like, how can you be taken seriously from a man? Or like, you're dressing up as a sex object for a man. All this crazy stuff that, again.
Were they men interviewers or women?
No. Oh, no. I would get them from, like, women.
No, really?
Yeah, I had a few from men, but I would get them from women. But again, this is what I was saying, too. Like, in the 50s, 60s, 70s, or, when people were dressing up, maybe it wasn't for the best intentions of why they were doing it or motives or anything like that. And yeah, it was just really wild that, you couldn't be a feminist and wear a corset. Like, that was crazy to me, where I was like, what? I was like,
makes
no.
much sense.
And I mean, I've seen that change and so much. But yeah, I think people are now really getting that your personal style is your personal style. Like, it's yours. You dress up and, we have little things that we like to wear here and there to, for our partner's delight. But no, what you're rooted in, what you want to wear, it's that. I mean, I'm not going to throw any names out there, but I've had a handful of friends where they got a divorce or got close to it because a partner really pushed the style on their other partner.
Oh yeah.
And you're just,
that I can see.
Yeah, I don't know if you've experienced. I've experienced that a lot, like watching like friends or people I know, where you're just like, dude, she doesn't like it. Stop. Or like, quit trying to make them wear a bowling shirt. Stop it. Like, like if they don't like it, they don't like it.
I always Wendy will push or ask me to wear something, but now she calls me. Like, she was on Magnolia at a vintage store there, and
probably play clothes. Let's play clothes.
No, I don't remember. And but she just called me and says, "Would you?" I'm looking at a men's shirt. It's a button down, short sleeve, and it's got tacos on it. Would you wear it? And I go, "Yeah, probably."
Yeah,
now it's my favorite shirt.
That one's cute.
So now I wear it on Tuesdays.
Now I wear it on Tuesdays.
It's always Taco Tuesday.
Well, that's great, because that means you have a partner that like kind of understands you and knows like where they can kind of like maybe like push your style a little bit or encourage you to do something that's not red, blue, or green plaid. So that's good. And yeah, that's great things that you want to hear. But man, I can tell you, especially running boutiques for so many years, that uncomfortable moment. And I definitely would say things and kind of intervene of, partners making someone dress up or women. Oh, this is the worst. Women coming out feeling incredible. And then their partner, or sometimes, this is worse. The worst is when other women would just break them down, just say the worst things. The worst stuff I heard is when I would have these older mothers say this about their daughters, and you just kind of look at the mom and you're like, what happened to you? Because let's be real, hurt people hurt people. Yeah. So it's just what happened to you? What broke your confidence that is making you now break hers? So, I think we got real deep right there. Sorry.
No, I sit there and I always say, for the most part, women dress up for other women, and men liking it is an extra.
Yeah, that's just a bonus. You guys just we just threw a bone at you. We're like, here you go if you like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, me and my girlfriends will definitely be like, is there a theme tonight?
Yeah.
When we'd go to a record hop, we're like, what are we going for? We're going for 60s bad girl. We're going for French inspired. Normally they're all bad girls. Now that I say it out loud, delinquent.
Wendy does the same thing. She's like, hey, I want to wear my military outfit tonight, and I'm like, all right,
You're like, okay.
I'm gonna wear my. We went out 2 weeks ago or a week ago, and she wore her latex outfit, and I'm like, she got it from it's the Femme Noir.
Oh yeah, Noir.
And so she wore it, and we're at an outdoor restaurant, and everyone's looking at her, and I'm like, whatever, You're
like, hey, she can't stain it. That's great. She drops the drink on it as long as it slides right off.
Exactly. So, but she just has fun with it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I know. I got a crap load of latex right before shutdown, right before everything happened.
That's
and
what she did,
yeah. I was I got so much of it. I had a girlfriend that was moving, and she had tons of stuff. And she gave me some. And I remember doing a little fashion show, a very sticky fashion show in my living room. And then the world shut down, and I was like, all right, where are we gonna?
Did you find the gun oil?
The gun oil?
Yep.
No, I use what's gun oil? Actual gun oil?
Not exactly. So
okay.
My wife, because it would squeak.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so she Googled, and there's a product called gun oil. It's a male on male sex lubricant.
Oh, lovely.
But it also works you put it in between your legs with the latex on, and no more squeaking.
Oh,
and it doesn't damage it. Yeah.
The gays always know what's up. They know what's best. You just always listen to a gay man. They have all the insight typically for clothing, for all of that.
it's called gun oil for a different reason, but it works on.
I gotcha. I know when you said gun oil, did you mean for a literal gun? This is a different type of gun, but yeah.
It is a literal gun, but yeah. So.
All right, I will note to self. I will Google that.
There's your tip.
Yeah, watch out, post office. It's going to get real exciting pretty soon.
Toward more gun oil.
Exactly.
Well, hey, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You gave me way more than I expected.
Oh, but you know what? Just trying. That's the overachiever in me,
Well, that's what's made you successful, though.
Thank you.
It's awesome to see. I was happy to see you got married.
Yeah.
You got so many good things going on. And I started following Dapper Day, and you're doing lives on Instagram and all that. We
did a fun one with Charles Phoenix the other day, which is great. I love Charles. He's one of those, you just put him on or read one of his books or whatever, and you just feel good right away. He's like a hug of a person, just like when you just feel good right away. But we did that with him, and then in the spring last year we did it with with Dita Von Teese. Don't know if you know who she is, no. But yeah, we've been putting some really exciting and interesting and stylish characters on our Instagram, yeah, to keep it inspiring and entertaining for everybody.
Yeah, well, that's the key thing with, I think social media, and I'm curious to get your take on it because you're on the business end of it. I think it can be good if you use it for good, and it obviously can be bad if you use it for bad. But
yeah.
The cancel culture is scary to me.
Yeah. I mean, with great power comes great responsibility. It can go either way. I had definitely forgive people probably too easy. Not something I'll work out with my therapist, but
Yeah.
I kind of said it earlier, the whole like hurt people.
Yeah.
And sometimes people do or say things and they don't know better. They don't know. So cancel culture to me is, I always want to give people the opportunity to apologize, to understand, to learn, whatever. Because I've seen it firsthand. I mean, my family, like I said, originally is from West Virginia, and when everything that was happening with, the BLM movement and all of that, I was definitely seeing some things where I literally was, like, no, you can't say that. Now, I could have very easily blocked and, said, screw you, you can't be around my family. My family is mixed race now. And I'm like, you don't get to do this. And instead I was like, hey, this is really hurting, my family when reading this. Maybe you should watch this documentary. It might give you some insight. Maybe you should read this, article from this professor or this doctor or like something, to give them an opportunity. And then I've been fortunate. It hasn't always happened. But, you usually see those memes go down then, where they don't say things like that anymore. And maybe they're getting or understanding. And, and that sucks to be like, hey, don't do that because now we have family members that, that are not our race and you need to be respectful. But sometimes you kind of have to use whatever tool you got to get the door open to be like, hey, let's take a real look at why there's this prejudice in you and why you feel this way and where this stems from. And, let's fix it, and change it. And then if they double down on that, then bye. But, I'm always really open to giving people an opportunity, even people who have really wronged me in the past or been cruel to me. I can't even, you'll never see me go on a hate campaign against anyone, because then it just puts me into a bad place. But again, there are people that they need to, whether it be canceled or just that, I don't know. Cancel is such a word, but we need to give people opportunity to cancel themselves, I guess, because they will cancel themselves.
See, that's how I look at it. It's like, I don't need to go out of my way and use whatever influence I have over people to bomb somebody. Just, I don't know. It's to me, it's like the celebrities about the voting. But like, XYZ comes out for this candidate. So, I mean, I'm like, yeah, well, your one vote counts as much as my one vote. Yeah,
it's when you want to get everyone out there to vote, you have to understand that doesn't mean necessarily for your candidate.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of democracy, and that's why we have it. And then, when it comes to things of like, moral issues or, things of that nature, then, it's time to have a conversation. Someone saying an ignorant response to something doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from something that they've learned or was accepted as a truth. And sometimes you need to relearn those truths. And, education doesn't stop when you're 18, and people need to be a little more understanding of that. But it's real easy to create a hashtag and to screenshot this and send this. And, hopefully, I think people can get burnt out on it. I think they can even get fatigued of that. But
do you think?
Yeah,
I'm curious. Your family was from West Virginia, but you were born and raised in Vegas, which is
so my parents, they moved there in the 70s.
Well, it's a very transient town. I mean, you get everything in Vegas, just like you do here in LA, where I live.
For sure.
So, I mean, and I grew up in San Diego and then here, so it's like, the prejudices don't, I don't know. I don't see it as prevalent here. Like if you go to Indiana and some of the, I mean, that's 93% one race.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm fortunate. My parents, they were always very welcoming to everyone,
Yeah.
and they were like landlords on the side, and across the street was one of their properties, and we had an incredible Black family that lived there and grew up there. Like, my family was not like that, but I always wonder, is it because they got out? Is it because they left, when they were like 20s and they weren't surrounded by, 95% of the same race or anything like that. And they were in, my family went to the casino industry and they were working, laundry room and dishwashers, and then going into, doing hotel stuff, and then a blackjack dealer, and then going into player development, and then being a high roller. Like, they went through so many things. So my family, I say, wow, they had the opportunity to do that. And I know a lot of people aren't going to maybe understand that, who live in places where there are all sorts of people there. But that's why I feel like a big part of education, like having a white relative in the middle of nowhere being like, well, if they would have just chose God, you're like, no, that's not, like, you can't say that. You don't know what this is like, and we don't know what this is like. So you don't see it. And even though, again, you saying you grew up in like OC and San Diego and on these places that have this diverse, landscape of people and all of that, we still saw racism.
Sure.
We still saw it. We still, but it was kind of, you get raised with it as, and I hate to say it's normal, but like, it's something you don't even realize it's racism that you see. You don't even see it because you grew up like that. And I think everyone just needs to kind of take a step back, read some books, listen to some podcasts, and and just sometimes go, all right, like, okay, that was wrong, and oh, that really sucked, or oh, maybe that's why that ended up that way. Like, that's not fair, and let's make sure that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What exciting plans do you have coming up, other than the April?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess exciting plans coming up are going to be, doing some type of event with Dapper Day for the spring, hopefully with some marketplace. I will have another collection coming out with Loco Lindo. 2020, I definitely took off from like modeling just because I was terrified to be around anybody. I don't care how socially distant they said they were. And then with, moving and married, I just wanted to focus on that. So I would like to get back into modeling some more, because I know I canceled a lot of shoots. Sorry about that. So hopefully we can reschedule those. But yeah, that's kind of, that's just my goal. I don't want to put so many eggs in a basket right now, because I felt like I had, or so many plans, that the plans were eggs. Because I did that for last year, for 2020, before COVID, and I was like, oh, I'm going here. I was going to the Netherlands. I was going to Miami.
Yeah.
Like, I had all of these trips planned out or whatever, and it was like crushing when they didn't happen. And I don't want to crush myself this year. So we're going to try to do some general light planning, but mostly focus on, what's in front of me to keep it going, because I don't want to be a sad panda, because I definitely was for 2020 on some parts of it.
Well, I appreciate it. What's the best way for my listeners to follow you and see what you have going on?
Instagram is usually the best, which is just Doris Mayday. And you can check out my collection if you follow Loco Lindo LA, and then also see all the fun things with Dapper Day. And those are on Instagram, and also they have websites now. And other than that, I don't tweet. I don't do anything on Facebook. And I bought my website domain years ago. I've never done anything with it. So, and now that I'm a stepmom, I probably won't do anything with it, because we got long division to conquer. So, but maybe one day we'll do some of that stuff.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate the time, and I'll make sure I'll include all the links on my website so they can just
great.
press a button and get over to them. And
Awesome.
if anybody's out there and you see Doris, don't be afraid to go say hi to her.
Oh yeah, don't. I get that all the time. People they're like, "Oh, I was scared to say hi," and I'm like, "What? No, say hi."
It's like she won't bite. She's married now, so.
Yeah, I won't now. Now I won't bite hard, but
exactly.
yeah. But I get it. We all get scared of. We've all have met someone that we've looked up to in some way or followed, and then we meet them in person, and you're like, wah wah. But
I've had just the opposite, to be honest with you. Well, no, I take that.
Really?
There's a couple of people I've met and went, yeah. But yeah, we live in LA, so I mean, I always tell people, I go, look, everybody has a bad day. I go, think of your worst day, and then how would you feel if someone came up and asked you for your autograph?
Yeah. I mean, hey, I had a girl I got broken up with. I was crying. I was at Viva. This was years ago. And I was crying in a corner. And I had a girl come up and want to take a picture with me. Yeah. And I was like snotty red in the face. And it was the one time I was like, you know what? I really can't do this right now. Maybe we can do this later. And she called me a bitch and walked away. But you know what? She was probably drunk because it was Viva. Because I cannot imagine a sober woman saying that, seeing all the snot coming out of the nose. But yeah, we all have our bad days. But I promise I don't have that many. So come up and say hi.
Yeah, because I was
6 feet away.
Almost everybody I met, especially on this show, I've been like, everyone's been really super cool. So. Yeah,
well, you're really cool too. So
yeah.
It works out.
Yeah, I'm super duper cool. As my wife says, don't ever think that. I'm like, all right. Well,
they keep us humble.
Thank you for being my first guest of 2021. It's all on you now.
Yes, hopefully there's no Mayday for 2021.
It will not be. So, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Pete.
Thanks, Doris.
Okay, bye.